Over Christmas break, my freshman year in high school, my mom got the stomach flu. It was really bad. She ended up staying in the hospital, getting fluids and staying a week. But really, when I was 15, my mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She had a great local oncologist who treated her cancer appropriately and aggressively. We spent the next year going through the rounds of standard treatments, surgery, chemo, Wendy's spicy chicken sandwiches, the aftermath of chemo. But when I was 16, the cancer came roaring back. I remember the ER docs telling my dad it was time for him to stay home from work. This was the end. But my mom's oncologist had a network of docs and offered my parents the option of trying a new drug regimen for late-stage ovarian cancer, a not totally approved drug combination, a clinical trial the insurance company didn't want to pay for. So, pretty soon, my parents started driving the 75 miles from Milwaukee to Madison, at least once a week, for a clinical trial that was only offered at the University of Wisconsin Hospital. And they paid for it out of pocket. When I was 17, my mom died from ovarian cancer at home. Ovarian cancer, the treatment, the hospice, the research has profoundly affected my life, my choices, and my opinions about clinical trials. But let's be honest, of course my mom enrolled in a clinical trial. She was white, educated, upper middle class, lived in a larger city. My parents trusted the system and knew when to push. The new Minnesota Cancer Plan is targeting the barriers to participation in clinical trials so that all moms and all cancer patients have the same options my mom had. The plan addresses 4 big obstacles. The first one, communication. We start by implementing a statewide, culturally and linguistically appropriate media campaign to increase public awareness about the benefits of participating in a clinical trial. Next, connections. We create a statewide, centralized clinical trials database that enables healthcare providers, as well as patients and their loved ones, to locate current and accurate information about open clinical trials. And of course, costs. Missed work, transportation expenses, including gas and parking, meals at the hospital, additional childcare, seriously impact a family's finances. That's why the Minnesota Cancer Plan is going to establish and fund a cancer care equity program to help patients overcome the financial barriers to participating in a clinical trial. And the fourth barrier, and sometimes the most prohibitive obstacle, clinical trial expenses that aren't covered by insurance are going to be addressed to ensure that insurance companies provide coverage for participation. But why is this even important? Why spend so much of our effort to get people enrolled in clinical trials? Well, I think I found the trial that my mom was part of. It was a GOG trial combining Taxol with other drugs in stage 3 and 4 ovarian cancer. The results of this study were published in the New England Journal and concluded that the new combination therapy improved the duration of progression-free survival and of overall survival. I like to think that my mom's participation in the study was the reason we had more time with her, and the use of this particular combination of drugs became the standard of care to keep other moms with their kids longer. And as we all know, less than 5% of adults diagnosed with cancer enroll on clinical trials. Between trepidation, a lack of access, and financial barriers, many Minnesotans who could benefit from participating just don't. And I know that the most important risk factor in ovarian cancer is a history of ovarian cancer in a first-degree relative. Could we advance my slide by chance? There we go, first-degree relative. And even though I'm negative for BRCA mutations and a regular visitor to my gynecologist, if I find myself in her shoes, I'll make the same choice that she did and work with my doctor to find a clinical trial to be part of, to try new therapy that is at least as good as the current standard of care, and hopefully better. Only one of my twins looks like me. The other one's blonde. I work at the Masonic Cancer Center because I believe in the research we are doing and then in the clinical